AFC World Cup qualifiers match day 2. Make sure to subscribe as we cover all the football happening here in Asia. We have a lot to talk about as the results are now finally in, and we're going to start with Indonesia, a country that has shown us a lot of support on the channel. So shout out to them.
Big shout
Let's
out.
talk about Indonesia and the result they got today at home, hosting Australia, ending 0-0.
And, I will say, much like the game against Bahrain, Australia dominated this game, at least from a possession perspective. They dictated where the ball was going, how long they held on to it, and when Indonesia got on the ball, they honestly couldn't do much with it. The offensive energy, that really fast counterattacking pace that we saw against Saudi Arabia was not here in Indonesia, unfortunately. But you know what was? Their defense. Once again, and we noted it in the last game for Indonesia, their defense truly has tightened up. Whether it's Idzes, Vrandrik as well, Martin Paes, they all really showed up. Rizky Ridho at the back, whether it's getting last-ditch defending stops or just really good shot blocking in general, they completely shut out Australia and limited them to very few genuine chances.
No, bro, let's remind the people, it was just a few months ago where we saw this same Australian team defeat Indonesia 4-0 in the round of 16. To get a 0-0 result the way they did today, I think is very, very impressive. And there's a lot to look at on both sides here, but let's just focus in on Indonesia. A big reason for why they got that clean sheet was Martin Paes.
Yeah.
Incredible performance. Once again, he had about 2-3 really good saves that they could have been goals, and he kept them from going in. And then, like you mentioned, last-ditch defending, just incredible effort all around. But I agree. I was a little disappointed in the lack of offensive threat that they had this game.
Yeah.
A big reason, though, was honestly looking at the Australian defense. I thought Harry Sutar was massive today, bro. Massive. And honestly might have been the player of the match for Australia because he stopped every single Indonesian attack.
There's two things going forward for the rest of the qualifiers that I'm going to be watching out based off of these last two matches, and especially based off of this one. It's going to be when they face against physical teams. So against Saudi Arabia, you can outpace them, and it was clearly seen in that game. Honestly, Indonesia could have scored 2 or 3 goals against them if they were just a little bit more clinical off the pass. But against a team like Australia, they're not going to be as naive to get beaten off the pace. They're going to have better positioning, especially with defenders like Sutar. Even in the midfield, you have really physical midfielders with Jackson Irvine, Keanu Bacchus. So I was really curious to see how Indonesia was going to handle it. And ultimately, they really couldn't handle it. Their offense got pretty much dominated. So I'm going to be looking for that in the future. How do they figure it out against very physical teams? The second thing I'm going to be looking out for is just their defense. I can't believe it's tightened up this quickly over the last 8 months. It's phenomenal. I mean, as you already pointed out, 4 goals they led in the last time they played Australia. But this time, honestly, the defense was just as good as Australia's. And I think that's a really big, important point to make, because that means they can go up against one of the best offenses in the region, or at least one of the best teams in the region, and hold their own. So I think for Indonesia, yes, they weren't able to win at home, but the defense really proved the point that they can play now in these qualifiers.
Yeah, and when it comes to them getting on the ball, all I ask from Indonesia, especially when it comes to these type of matchups, is one, to learn.
Do you wanna come round now? Say around 5:30. Stay until the morning, then I carry on and live my hollow life. Did you really take my soul? Came and then you left a hole. Shot me in the late night.
Media Italia heboh atas pertandingan Timnas Indonesia menghadapi Australia pada matchday kedua grup C putaran ketiga kualifikasi Piala Dunia 2026 zona Asia.
Building an empire, you were rising higher.
Timnas Indonesia asuhan Sintayong menahan imbang tim tamu Australia dalam pertandingan yang digelar di Stadion Utama Gelora Bung Karno. Pelatih Timnas Indonesia, Sintayong, melakukan sedikit rotasi dengan memainkan Justin Hubner dan mencadangkan Tom Haye serta Witan Sulaiman. Pada laga kontra Arab Saudi, Tom Haye dan Witan Sulaiman turun sebagai starter. Bek-bek tangguh diturunkan langsung oleh Sintayong untuk menjaga lini pertahanan Garuda, diantaranya Jay Idzes, Justin Hubner, dan Rizky Ridho. Lalu ada juga Kelvin Verdong yang bisa bermain bek sekaligus sayap, dan Sandy Walsh sebagai sayap kanan. Lini tengah STY mempercayakan Nathan Chuaon dan Ivar Jenner, 3 pemain depan diisi oleh Marcelino Ferdinand, Ragnar Oratmangun dan Rafael Struijk. Secara khusus media Italia memberikan judul, hasil imbang tanpa gol Australia melawan Indonesia yang dikawal JIZ. Timnas Indonesia masih belum memecah kebuntuan di putaran ketiga kualifikasi Piala Dunia 2026 zona Asia dengan meraih 2 kali hasil imbang 1-1 melawan Arab Saudi. Kini menghadapi Australia 0-0.
Rising higher, standing tall, but you will fall, cause we all hear the choir. Beautiful love, dragging me under the table. Hell in her eyes, she wants to put me in a hole. Beautiful liar, holding me, I'm a neighbor. Bleeding me dry, she wants to devour my soul.
Fuck.